It's November 20th, and the strange side of history awaits. Today, we have a doomed whaling crew, a royal wedding touched by superstition, and the birth of a city in the stars. Let's begin. On November 20th, 1820, the crew of the whale ship Essex awoke to a calm, endless stretch of the Pacific blue. They believed it would be a routine day at sea until the ocean itself seemed to rise from beneath them. An enormous sperm whale, nearly the size of the entire ship, charged with unnatural speed, slamming its massive head into the hull. The impact shuddered through every timber. Men were thrown to the deck, then the whale turned around. It was coming back. This time, the creature struck with such a force that water erupted through the planks. The Essex groaned, tilted, and began to sink. The crew only had minutes to scramble to tiny whaleboats, watching helplessly as their ship, their home, their lifeline, slipped beneath the waves. They were now stranded more than 1,000 miles from land, floating in the empty ocean under a sky that suddenly felt too large. Days turned to weeks, their food rotted, their water ran dry, and the sun burned them until their skin cracked. Some whispered that the whale hadn't just attacked, it had cursed them. As men starved, sanity began to thin. One by one, their crewmates died, and the survivors faced a choice darker than anything they'd ever imagined: cannibalism. The ordeal would later inspire Moby-Dick, but the truth was far more haunting than fiction. Out there in the vast silent ocean, the men of the Essex discovered it wasn't just the sea that was their greatest enemy. The facts are scarier than fiction. Did you know that even the whale is inspired by a real one? Not the same one from the Essex, but Moby-Dick, a notoriously aggressive white sperm whale from the 1800s. On November 20th, 1947, London prepared for what should have been a perfect day, the royal wedding of Princess Elizabeth and Philip Mountbatten. Crowds gathered, church bells rang out across the city, and for a moment, post-war Britain tried to believe that hope was finally returning. But the morning unfolded to something strange. It started with the clocks. Throughout London, timepieces abruptly stopped. Not randomly, but within minutes of each other. Shopkeepers stepped outside, holding pocket watches, confused. Family members found their mantel clocks frozen mid-tick, as if time itself hesitated to let the day begin. Then the fog rolled in. Despite clear forecasts, a dense unnatural mist swallowed the streets, muffling the cheers of the crowd and wrapping Westminster Abbey into a cold, colorless shroud. Inside the palace, other omens were unfolding. As Princess Elizabeth prepared for the ceremony, the diamond tiara she planned to wear suddenly snapped in half. Jewelers were rushed under police escort and were able to repair it immediately. Lastly, the crows. Hundreds gathered around the abbey, perched on the rooftop, circling overhead. Newspapers cautiously called them all bad omens. Locals whispered that they were warnings, signs that the monarch was entering an age of turbulence and change. Historians point to superstitions and wartime nerves, but many Londoners still believe that day carried a shadow, a series of quite creepy signals that something odd in the world was happening. Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip were married for 73 years, which makes them the longest married royal couple in history, and Elizabeth was the second longest ruling monarch, with 70 years and 214 days, a long and prosperous reign. On November 20th, 1998, a roar rose over the Gaza Desert as a Proton rocket climbed into the dark morning sky. Inside was the Zarya, the very first model that would become the International Space Station. It was a historic moment, one meant to symbolize cooperation, unity, and humanity's first permanent foothold beyond Earth. As the Zarya separated from the rocket, ground control noted unusual vibration in its feed, a faint rhythmic sound they couldn't identify. Minutes later, as the Zarya completed its first few orbits, astronauts on board the shuttle Endeavour reported a strange metallic echo, and it sounded like a slow knock, repeating itself as if something was tapping from the outside of the silent, unoccupied spacecraft. The Zarya marked the beginning of a new era, an international laboratory circling Earth every 90 minutes. The Zarya module is still used in space today as part of the International Space Station. It was the first of its kind that is considered one of the most solid and peaceful international collaboration projects ever undertaken. Another day, another strange bite from history. Like, comment, and subscribe. Your next eerie dose is just a day away.